Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, different parts of the world. It's a great pleasure to have this presentation from UMass, University of Massachusetts Lowell. Let me turn this over to Professor Ashwin Mehta of UMass Lowell to introduce our presentation for today. So over to you, Ashwin.
Thank you, Dr. Badula, and welcome to the Global Entrepreneurship Education webinar series. Any entrepreneurship education requires a robust ecosystem, including an accelerator. In today's webinar discussion, you will hear a case story of a very successful accelerator located in Lowell, Massachusetts, wherever UMass Lowell campus is. Our presenter, Sophan Smith, a Khmer American raised in the city of Lowell, Massachusetts. He was born in Cambodia at the height of the Khmer Rouge War, a genocide that killed over 2 million Cambodian women, men, and children. Her family relocated to the U.S. as refugees and settled in Lowell. Sophan was 2-year-old when they began their new lives in America. She is the first in her family to attend and graduate from University of Massachusetts. So she is our alum of UMass Lowell. For over a decade, Sophan spent her career working with institutions such as Boston Private Industry Council, UMass Boston, State Street, etc. With experiences in employer relations, marketing, recruitment, the majority of Sophan's work entails cultivating new relationships, developing and implementing strategies, and creating brand awareness. Presently, Sophan is the executive director at Entrepreneurship forAll, or EforAll, Lowell, Massachusetts. In this role, she is responsible for carrying out the mission, but also day-to-day operations while focusing in 3 primary areas: leadership and vision, general management, and fundraising and development. Please welcome Sophan Smith. Sophan, take it away.
Tom.
Well, good morning or good evening, depending where you are. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. I am very excited to talk about EforAll, and more so, how do we help people turn their dreams into businesses? Let me go to the next slide. So for today, ladies and gentlemen, what I will cover is I'm going to talk about entrepreneurship for all. We tend to shorten it and just say EforAll. I want to share some entrepreneur stories, talk about the different programs that we have, and how could you possibly launch an EforAll program in your community and help change the ecosystem. So thank you so much for the introduction. Again, my name is Sophan Smith. I'm the Executive Director at Entrepreneurship for All in Lowell, Massachusetts. I joined the organization just about 4 months ago, and I'm really excited to be a part of the organization because for several reasons. One is it is located in the hometown that I grew up in. 2, I get to be part of an organization that makes such an impact, such a difference in the community, and it's focusing on those that I am more than familiar with, because EforAll works with underrepresented communities. We work with immigrants. We work with all kinds of people, and who knows that community better than myself? So what is EforAll? So if you actually decide to Google EforAll before you came to today's presentation, simply said, we are an organization that started off as the Merrimack Valley Sandbox. And then in 2014, we officially renamed ourselves and became Entrepreneurship for All. We are a nonprofit organization that works with thriving communities, or more so communities that need thriving small businesses, to give them the tools and the resource to help start or launch their own small business. Whether you are in the ideation, just maybe thinking about the business, or let's say you moved on and you're thinking now about launching a business, we give you the tools and the resources to help you do that. And as you can see from this slide, the topic or the heading says communities need thriving small businesses, which is very true. Pre-COVID, COVID really took a major impact across the globe. 44% of businesses were made of small businesses. So are small businesses needed in our community? Absolutely 100%. So here, before I really get into what is EforAll, we're going to play a video, and this is just one entrepreneur story.
I'm going to take over, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to
For
take
whatever reason, it is not working when I show it, so we're going to show it in a different
I
method.
will show it on my screen. I'm going to make myself a presenter. And I'm assuming you can see my screen.
In 2008, my husband and I, we facing a difficult time. I was pregnant of my first baby, and I had to stay home because I have a difficult pregnancy. In the meantime, my husband got laid off from his job. We lost our house. We went to bankruptcy. And the moment I realized I need to do something for us. And my mother came one day and gave me $35 to buy grocery to my family. And I knew that wasn't enough to feed my family. And then instead to buy food, I bought my first ingredients and to make flan. When I did the flan, I brought it to my co-workers and I sold to them. In less than 1 month, I was making more $500 extra to help my husband and pay my bills. And I realized I have a business in my hands and I didn't know how to start. Is that when I found EforAll?
The mission of EforAll comes from a deeply held belief that everyone, regardless of their background, education, or zip code, should be able to pursue their dream of starting a business. EforAll partners with communities nationwide to provide these individuals with the tools, support, and networks they need to be successful. Together, we have the power to transform lives and communities.
EforAll is an integral partner in a community's success, particularly from an economic development standpoint. They take these folks who come with these big dreams, and what EforAll then does is they provide them with all the tools that they need to take those ideas, those dreams, and convert them into a successful business venture.
EforAll helped me to achieve my dream. After the accelerator, they being so supportive to me, and they being a key for my business. After a year of the accelerator, we opened up our storefront. And now we are growing so much that we are planning to expand. Just EforAll helped me. I know they have to help other business in the community get started too.
Thank
Okay,
you for
great.
sharing.
I will give this back to you, Sophan, just a minute.
Yeah.
You have to now click show my screen.
All right. All right. Can everyone see me again or see the presentation?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So that was just one entrepreneur story.
Maybe not. Yeah, we can see it now. Good. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, that was just one entrepreneur story that I want to show you. You see, the entrepreneur that you saw in that YouTube video, her business is right in Lawrence, Massachusetts. It's actually about 15 minutes away from me. And she had never thought about opening up a business before. She got laid off from work. She had some money, and instead of going to buy food, she said, you know what, I'm going to buy some ingredients to make a cake. And then started sharing it. Next thing you know, everyone's asking for her cakes. Next thing you know, it's okay, I need to start a business. Next thing you know, she's with EforAll, and we helped her launch her very first business. And she now employs about 14 employees, and they're growing. They're looking to even expand. So I want to share a couple of other entrepreneurs here. So you saw already the first one, Daenerys, the founder of Sweet Grace Heavenly Cakes. She joined our program in 2014, and that's when she finished. Then we have George Velos. George is the founder of Pentagon Studios. George was born in the Dominican Republic and then was raised in Lowell, Massachusetts. In the summer of 2018, he joined one of our pitch programs. And then from there, after entering a pitch competition, he then entered our business accelerator program and finished in 2019. And then we have Laura. Laura joined our program and is now a part of the Entrepreneurs Forever program. And Laura is she is the startup or Worm Return, which is a composting company. So this is a female-owned company, composting company, and what they do is they work with schools, restaurants, businesses to not only help them find solutions for composting, but they also educate the community as well about the importance of composting. So those are just 3 stories of the many entrepreneurs that we work with and how each one is so different and how each business is so different from one another. Oftentimes people do ask us, well, what types of businesses do you work with? To be honest with you, we work with all different types of businesses, from your traditional brick and mortar to retail to different services to even technology. So we don't necessarily say no. However, what's unique about EforAll is that we do partner with so many other organizations, such as UMass Lowell. And so that, you know, a person may start at our program, but then they may, if they need additional resources, we will refer them to other organizations or collaborations that we have in the city. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, so what are the different steps that you can have at EforAll? So if you're thinking to yourself, so, okay, if a person has a business idea, when do they come to EforAll, right? So I would like to say there's 3, like maybe phases for an entrepreneur. So the first phase is the ideation. You maybe have just this idea, this business idea that you've been playing with in your mind, you've thought about it, but you're not ready to fully launch it yet. But it won't go away, this idea. So then we invite you to come to our pitch contest. Our pitch contests are community events. It helps the entrepreneurs validate their business idea. You get feedback from our judges. We typically tend to have 3 to 4 judges from the community. And then we also award prize money as well. So you can win up to $1,500 at the pitch contest. And it's available in English and Spanish language. So now let's say, okay, great. You had this idea, you came to our pitch contest, pitched your idea, you got some good feedback, and you're thinking, you know what, I think I'm ready to launch this business. So where do I begin? Where do I go? Great. So now let's transition and go to our 1-year accelerator program. So at this phase, you're ready to launch. During the business accelerator program, you will learn from A to Z how to start a business. For example, we will start off in the beginning of the course to teach you about customer segments, your value proposition, your business model canvas, and why we use a business model canvas versus a business plan. And what's great about the Business Accelerator is that it is a cohort style. So you're going to learn hands-on with 15 other entrepreneurs. So 15 entrepreneurs or 15 individuals will start together in this cohort and go through the journey together. Because we all know that being an entrepreneur can be a very lovely journey. It can be a challenging journey as well, because there's a lot of ups and downs. And so now you're part of this cohort and you get so much support from your peers. In addition to our accelerator, you also will have access to 3 mentors. And so the mentors act as a team. So one mentor will be a coach mentor, and that is someone who's done this 1 or 2 times, so they take the lead. But what's great about having 3 mentors is that, you know, not one person has to carry the conversation, but as the entrepreneur, you're going to get so many different perspectives and advice as well. So now let's say you finish the program, you have your business, you launch it, things are going well. But again, as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of ups and downs. So you're thinking, well, I could use some more help. I could use some more advice. Great. Well, we don't want you to just stop after our business accelerator program, and we don't want you to think that that's it. This is all that we're doing for you. So now we have another program called eForever, where you will be placed with other peer groups or with other similar businesses as well. And you will have these small peer group meetings. There's a 3-year curriculum and so forth, and you have access to all of our resources as well. So again, EforAll supports an entrepreneur at any step of the journey, whether you're at just the idea phase or whether you're at the phase where you launch, but you still need some support from your current peer members. So what makes us unique? I'm sure, as part of this program, you've heard so many different entrepreneurship programs out there, and there are many wonderful ones. I actually started at a small business assistance center when I was still in college at UMass Lowell. So teaching about entrepreneurship is actually something that's very familiar to me because this is what I did 20 years ago. I worked with a small business assistance center that was part of the Small Business Administration, SBA. Well, at EforAll, what makes us different and what makes us unique is, first and foremost, all of our programs are offered at no cost whatsoever. 2, our programs are available in 2 languages, English and Spanish. And then all of our facilitators and mentors are experienced professionals. They come from all different backgrounds. Some might have been someone who was in the corporate sector. Some might be an actual business owner. We have those that actually teach in the academic field. And then our learning model is a very collaborative small group style. We do that on purpose. We want it to be small group. We want it to be concentrated. We want people to feel they're part of a group that they can reach out to, that they can get support from, and so forth. And then lastly, we are deeply rooted in the communities that we serve. So EforAll, again, our mission is to accelerate social impact through inclusive entrepreneurship. And so we do make sure that our programs and services are going to those that need it most. We're very engaged with the community as well, because all of our volunteers come from the community, including our mentors. These are folks that are from the area, they know it well, and they also have a network within the community and more, including all of the folks that volunteer, such as judges for our pitch contest, such as readers who looks through all of our applications. They're all from the community. So even though we are a very small team, a staff of really 2, it's myself and a program manager that runs the Lowell site, I always feel I have such a big team behind me because I'm working with the community here in Lowell. So this slide here, I want to show you the impact of entrepreneurship, and especially for EforAll. 72% of our entrepreneurs are women-owned. 70% are BIPOC-owned. And if you're not familiar with the term BIPOC, the acronym BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. 39% of our entrepreneurs are immigrant-owned. You heard it earlier in the beginning. Myself, I came to the United States as a refugee. So again, when we talk about underrepresented communities and people, I know that community well because I come from that community. 38% of our entrepreneurs were once previously unemployed. So as you know, really because of COVID, many individuals unfortunately were laid off from work. And as a result, we saw an increase for entrepreneurship, because people actually start to think about, how they could solve some of the problems that are out there through entrepreneurship. So as you can see, our entrepreneurs really reflect the diversity of the communities that we serve. And again, that's very important to EforAll. Since the startup of EforAll, there's been over 700 businesses that have started. We've helped create over 1,300 jobs, and the revenue alone speaks for itself. $43 million in 2020. So again, a small organization, but a very big impact. So EforAll is growing and we are expanding. So this shows you really the communities that we are working with nationwide. So EforAll did begin in Lowell, Massachusetts in the US. In Massachusetts alone, we have 9 communities or 9 EforAll sites. We've expanded. We have an office in Buffalo, New York. We have an office in Longmont, Colorado. We just opened up a site in Northwest Arkansas. We are now launching in Rhode Island, and we are currently fundraising for several other communities such as Pennsylvania, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, and including San Diego, California. So we're growing and we're expanding because, like the name said, entrepreneurship for all. So people tend to ask, I'm sure, as you're thinking about EforAll and whether or not this could work within your community, you're probably also thinking about, well, how are they getting their funding? So our funding sources come from several different areas: corporations, private corporations, foundations, individuals, including government as well. So when it comes to funding, as you can see, there's a pie that breaks out kind of the costs. So about 51% does go into salaries, 18% go into entrepreneur awards. So during the pitch contest and during the accelerator program, we do award prize money. For the accelerator program, we give about $20,000 for each cohort. And we run the accelerator program twice a year, once in the summer and once in the winter. About 15% of funding will go to just local operations. 17% will go to national shared, meaning that each site, there's a percentage that's given to the national team. But overall, 83% is for program delivery. So really your funding that you're raising for is going to the programs that you're delivering to the communities. So here, let's talk about now how to get started. So again, you're thinking, okay, this sounds fantastic. I'm thinking I want to launch an EforAll in my community because folks can definitely use these resources and look at the impact that we can create. Fantastic. So let's talk about that. So I would say in phase 1 is your discovery phase. So first and foremost, do a needs assessment. Look at the community, look at the city, look at the area that you're looking to target to have an EforAll site or something similar. What are the needs? Check to see if there are any local programs that already exist. Because if there are a ton of fantastic entrepreneurship programs, then EforAll is not going to be needed in that community or that area. So EforAll actually will be in communities that need it the most. That's why we're in Lowell, Massachusetts, we're in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and so forth. These are the areas that will need our services. And then you also have to look at the funding capacity as well in that area. Move on to phase 2. So after you've done your needs assessment, you're thinking, okay, this particular area can definitely use an EforAll, and there is potential for funding from different corporations and foundations and so forth. Okay, so now let's move on to gathering support, which is so important. So when it comes to support, you really want someone to be your community champion, someone who believes in the mission or the work of EforAll or what you're looking to accomplish. And you're going to need a founding committee as well. So when EforAll began in Lowell, I believe our founding committee, there was only about 4 that started. And they literally helped us at one point when we had like an open house. They're helping us move tables and set up and so forth. And they contribute a lot to the program development. You want to start looking at 3-year funding commitments. While it's great to have a 1-year commitment, it's better to have a 3-year or multi-year gift if possible. By having multi-year gifts or 3-year funding commitments, it allows the executive director or the program manager to really focus on delivering the programs and spreading the word of EforAll to the community. You want to also gather support from your local and your regional government as well. They can really assist in many different ways, from not only from funding, but to also even helping with your programs and other resources as well. Then phase 3. So now let's say you've done all that and you're ready to launch. Fantastic, congratulations. You want to make sure you have an MOU. You want to now gather your leadership advisory board. For the EforAll Lowell site, I have a leadership advisory board of 12 members. You want to have your operations or your standard operating procedures ready to go now. So once you have that all in place, is now the last phase, which is growth. Again, here you want to go back to having a community champions. You want to continue to do your 3-year funding commitments or search for and so forth, or multi-year gifts. Because I would tell you that will be a big part of having a successful EforAll is to get the funding, because again, all the programs and services are offered to the entrepreneurs at no cost. And then continue to work with your local and your regional government as well. So you can definitely help bring entrepreneurial support to your community. It's very customizable based on your community that you're pitching this to. So it really depends, you know, for Lowell, for example, the accelerator program is offered twice a year, and each cohort has a cohort of 15 entrepreneurs. So essentially in 1 year, we are producing 30 entrepreneurs or 30 businesses, and each entrepreneur has a team of 3 mentors. So if a cohort has 15 entrepreneurs, that's 45 mentors that we have that cohort. So that's 90 mentors in total a year, 30 business a year. And we also run the pitch contest 4 times a year as well. But again, you might want to start off smaller and scale it back and say, let's have the accelerator program run once a year with 10 individuals or 10 businesses at first, and we start off with 2 mentors, and we will only do 2 pitch contests. So again, look at your community, what you need, and then more so, what is the support that you currently have, so you can customize the program to fit the community. Thank you. My contact information is here. Feel free to grab my email address if you want to stay connected. I'm also on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with everyone. So feel free to shoot me a connection on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, looks like we have plenty of time for questions, folks. So let's hear from the audience. Yeah, I think Sophan knows that most of the audience is from all over the world. I think they're not most part from the US. You know, is that, yeah?
Yes, I am. So I would love to hear where folks are tuning in from. So let me know what country or what continent you're in. I would love to hear that.
I'll start with one who's from the US. It's Elsie Mayo. Elsie Mayo, does EforAll serve communities outside Massachusetts? I would like to introduce some of my neighborhood organizations in New York.
Yeah, so if we go back, We do. So in Massachusetts, we have 9 sites, but outside of Massachusetts is Buffalo, New York. That's a very brand new site that we just launched. We launched a site in Northwest Arkansas, so all over really. So right now for New York, it's just Buffalo, New York, because it's an area that can really utilize our services and our program. So again, we tend to look for communities or cities that may not have a ton of resources already or do not have existing entrepreneurial programs.
How does one know, a would-be entrepreneur know they're ready for EforAll?
I would say really, so part of our process for the pitch contest is a great way to just literally, if you have a business idea, you've been thinking about it, you pitch your business to the community. So it's an event where we invite the community to come. We have a panel of judges, and the entrepreneur would have 2.5 minutes to pitch their business idea, and then you get feedback. And the judges will help determine who wins first place, second, and third. But again, the important part is that they give feedback. And then part of our accelerated program, there is a lengthy process to get into it. We have an application process where you have to not only submit your business idea. We ask you, when did this business start? Who's your target customer? All these different questions. Some will be able to fully complete the application, some may not. But then we interview them and we take in different folks. So some folks are just really at the idea stage. And while they're in the accelerator, they're going to learn how to turn that idea into launching an actual business, because we go through from A to Z how to start a business. And then some folks really have started to work on it already. So really, if you have an idea, if you're passionate, you want to commit, but you're just saying to yourself, I just need some resources, some guidance, then you're probably ready.
Question from a student in India. Can you help students in India?
Let's see. I definitely can connect you to our Chief Executive Officer, our CEO, and see, how could we expand an EforAll in another country, and how could it work in India? Absolutely. So why not? Let's dream big.
Yeah, I mean, setting up the ecosystem, that's really the key, right? I mean, you have
Absolutely.
over the years.
Absolutely. Yes. So if you
10
think
years
about the ecosystem, right, let me just say this, right? So look at Daenerys, one of the entrepreneurs that you saw in the story. She is one person. Because she was able to start her business, she is now able to support herself. And then she was able to support her family. Because she launched the business, she then employs people. So now she's creating jobs in her city. And they've employed 14 people through their business. So think about how that contributes to the ecosystem alone. And the more small business you have in your community, the more people are employed. Again, it adds to that ecosystem. It really changes the landscape of that community.
Any tips on strategies to scale up any business from local market to a global market?
To scale up from local to global?
Yeah.
I would say.
Sophan, you may want to speak about the InvisiWare, the company that's going global too.
Yeah, so many of our entrepreneurs will come to us where they're really learning about, again, how to start off. And then once your business increase and you need more, we then will help you work with our partners and so forth. So for example, you work with UMass Lowell, right? And they have a great center, as you know, there, and they have access to even bigger resource. So you can now take your small business, go to UMass Lowell, and they can help you create it even bigger by working with different resources. So would you like to talk about InvisiWare a little more?
I think it would be a great story if you can be. They have heard, some of the audience, people in the audience may have heard about the InvisiWare, but if you want to talk about that, that would be great. Or I can talk, or I think Tom O'Donnell is in the audience. He can also mention about
Yeah,
that.
Tom is an organizer. Yeah,
Tom, go ahead.
Tom, you want to talk about that, please?
Hi, Sophan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Ashwin. So in Delaware, a team of students from UMass Lowell who started off with an idea, participated in a program on campus called Difference Maker, took it to the next stage, got involved with EforAll, went through the accelerator program, and as of today, they are doing extremely well, selling essentially jewelry and accessories that allow very discreet alerting of family, friends, and the safety professionals, police, and others if they are in a situation that's dangerous, if they're in a situation where they need help, and effectively have taken that from the idea stage to the point where they're generating millions of dollars in revenue and are scaling internationally at this point. So a great example of idea to accelerator to scale up and having significant impact in so many ways.
Question from Patrick from Africa. Have you reached Africa? I didn't see it on your map, right? It's still in the United States. Right? Oops, did you hear me? What I said? Have you reached Africa? Yeah. We can't hear you. I think you lost your volume. Sophan?
Oh, I can say, okay, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have a general question for all of you. Sophan, Ashwin, and Tom, and maybe even Yi. Tell us the history of setting up something for an EforAll. Okay, how many years did it take, and what are some of the ingredients? So it's obviously many years of effort where you set up, where you have now resources to get these things moving. And this kind of is a nice regional story, right? Anyway, it can be anywhere in the world. What would it take to set up something like an EforAll with the mentors and the people who provide the support to these small businesses? Because I can see this happening all over any part of the world, in fact, and small towns all over the world. So can you, Ashwin, can you get the ball rolling and see if you can develop a plan for helping people start EforAlls, not just start on the entrepreneur, but start an EforAll in different parts of the world? What would be the approach?
It did take a while. So, EforAll actually it took the concept of it started in 2010. And it did take a couple of years. Again, as you saw in one of the slides, there was a needs assessment that was done first to see, what are the needs, who would be the champions behind this and so forth, and then what are the potential funders. So obviously in the very beginning, we did get funding from the foundation, which helped, but then moving forward, we had to secure that funding. And so we also then had a leadership advisory as well that helped champion, which was extremely important. So it can take a while, but the good thing is that because EforAll is already in place, so if you wanted to start an EforAll anywhere else, we already have the standard operating procedures, the SOPs, all the programs in place. So it's a matter of now looking to see, okay, who are your potential funders, who can collaborate with, and what communities can really benefit from this. So depending on your sources and who might be a strong champion, I mean, it can take a year or more. It can even be less, but it really depends on, again, who you're collaborating with.
So you have all of these new EforAlls coming up in different parts of the United States, right? So they're at different stages. What kind of funding do you have to generate in order to get something moving?
So I would say, for about each site, you want to have funding of about $300,000. about 300,000. And that can come again from states, from foundations, excuse me, your local, your regional government, foundations, and private corporations as well.
So Sophan, just speak to that real quickly. 300,000 per year. So for multi-year,
Correct.
it would be more than
per
that.
year, right? Yeah, that's per year. And
Correct.
where does this most of that money get budgeted for? What does it get budgeted for? Most of that money.
So I would say about 83% is programming. 83% is programming. So to deliver it. So again, for our sites, we deliver, as you saw, we deliver about 4 pitch contests per year. We also run the business accelerator twice per year as well, which produces about 30 entrepreneurs each year. So 80% is going all into programming.
Sophan, if an organization in India or somewhere else want to start something like, what kind of support or help can you offer to that organization?
Exactly.
Sure. Okay, so I would say, you know, if this is something you're thinking like this could work with a community in India, I would definitely connect you to our CEO and our COO as well, both of them, for you to have discussions and see how you can replicate the program. And, you know, again, we already have everything in place. So in terms of like the program, the content, what we teach and how we teach, we already have that in place. And so I would connect you to our CEO to have that discussion further.
What about somebody wanted to do something in Nigeria or Kenya?
Same.
Right.
Same. I would connect you to our CEO and start having those conversations. Since we're growing nationally, why not grow globally as well?
Exactly. Having that, so there should be some kind of a workshop or training for potential leaders who want to start an EforAll. And I can see, Ashwin, there are a lot of places in all over India who have tried the Indus entrepreneurs, and this is something that Deshpande, who actually I think was responsible also for I think the activity in the Lowell area,
He was.
he has so Thai is a group of entrepreneurs in different cities. They have chapters. And I'm thinking if those chapters can actually take on responsibility of starting EforAlls for the local community, that would be really an amazing way to scale up and propagate this this to because a lot of times some of these organizations, they think that entrepreneurship is about high level technology and high level businesses, and what you're showing here is that this is stuff that the common person can think of doing,
Absolutely.
and set up little things here, and that's really what some countries need in the small towns, and communities, rural communities. They need a little help to. These are people who may not even have a proper high school education, to help them become entrepreneurs in their neighborhood and start and employ others. I think it's a beautiful concept. I think great.
So Sophan, what resources would you share? Would you share your program resources? So the 12-week accelerator program, for example, would you share or train the local leaders to go through that and help them set up so if you can talk to some of the things that EforAll can help those organizations, that'll be very wonderful.
Yeah, so I definitely can't speak for EforAll as a whole organization. I can only share what we do, how we deliver our program to the community. It would be, but however, since we are growing nationally, so we replicate our program. So all of the content that we teach in the Business Accelerator course is the same across the country. So what you're going to receive in the city of Lowell in Massachusetts, you're going to get the same content in Colorado. And we do that for quality control because we certainly wouldn't want any entrepreneur to feel as if they're not getting the same teachings, right? So I would say if we were to expand EforAll globally, David Parker, who's our CEO, I'm pretty sure that he might want to definitely share all of our content in terms of like, how do we run our operation? For example, let's say you have the funding, you have your local champions in place, you have partnerships already started with your local and regional government and other organizations. So now it's, okay, well, this is how we run EforAll. Each site will have an executive director. They will have a program manager. And here are the responsibilities. We have that listed out. Now for your business accelerator. During the first 12 weeks of the program, here are the courses that we go through, and here's what's taught. We also have those as well. But you might want to, you know, of course, modify and change some of that content to your need depending on your resources, because how we deliver some of our programming may be different depending, you know, your laws and what's needed over there to start a business in your region. So you can use EforAll as a model,
Right.
and customize it, you know, for your community.
Great, thank you, Sophan. That was very helpful, and I think that is important.
We
And
have
I think you know,
our
our model works well where it can be customized really for any community or any region, to be quite honest with you, because of the fact that what we have found is the accelerator program works amazing for our entrepreneurs. They will finish this program after 3 months or 12 weeks, and they will come out of it with so much more confidence in themselves as a business owner. They now have the fundamental knowledge of how to start up a business. They understand, for example, some of the finances or how to work with Excel spreadsheets, a little bit of accounting, right? But then they now may need to, as you said earlier, how they scale up. Well, that's when they might work with other programs like the Difference Maker at UMass Lowell to scale up their business. So our program is a great foundation. It gives entrepreneurs the fundamentals of starting up their own business. But again, that's why EforAll works and collaborates with so many partners. It's because we know that our entrepreneurs, you know, as they're on this journey, they're going to continue to need guidance or advice and so forth.
A question from our friend in Japan, from the UMass MBA program. This is Koki Fuji. Could you share your thoughts about human resources? I believe human resources with a common dream would be essential to proceed with small business ideas. Which phase is the appropriate timing to invite and strengthen more human resources?
So for having human resources at EforAll, like when do you have that started?
Okay, good question. Koki, could you talk about, just clarify, are you talking about human resources at the organization EforAll? Or at the company, or the startup that is going to be?
At the startup?
I don't know. I'm not sure. So he hasn't responded
I'll cover
yet.
both.
So,
I'll cover both. So what's great about
yes,
our...
yes. Tell us some of both. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Startup, at the startup, you say. Yeah.
Sure. So at EforAll, so we have the national team. So the national team really kind of provides our like overhead of human resources, marketing, technology. So they provide all of that. So we have them for that. When it comes to small businesses, most small businesses, to be quite honest with you, within the first year or two, don't necessarily have an HR team. Yes, but when they get to that point where they start to now have several employees and they need an HR team in place, we work with companies that provide HR services that they can actually employ. So you don't necessarily have to physically like hire someone per se to be an HR person. You can actually work with a company. So basically, they would be a third party, if you will. And they will act as your HR. They will go through and they'll take care of all the paperwork, all of the legalities, and so forth for their employees. But for EforAll, again, all of that is provided through our national team. So you have EforAll National and then EforAll Sites. I am the EforAll Executive Director for EforAll Lowell.
So,
I see a lot of people. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Ashwin.
Yeah, Sophan, you may want to speak to the mentoring network that you have established that consists of
Right.
many individuals. How long would it take to create a network that is going to be very supportive to our local businesses?
For mentors, so I will tell you that is a year-round recruitment. So I started this role about 4 months ago, and as soon as I started to reach out to our current list of mentors. But so if you're starting up, you know, here's what I will say you might want to look for. You definitely want mentors to come from different backgrounds. So don't think, oh, we are an entrepreneur center, we only need those that are business owners. Not necessarily the case. You don't have to be a business owner to be a mentor. You do need someone who's business savvy, right? And that's why each entrepreneur has a team of 3 mentors, because we want different perspectives. What one mentor might be able to contribute, another might be able to add some other input or opinions, right? So you want to look for mentors from different backgrounds, whether they come from private, whether they're business owner, and so forth. You want mentors who are willing to listen. A lot of times, our mentors are someone who really needs to be there for our entrepreneurs, because we are teaching the entrepreneurs the basics, the fundamentals of starting a business. The mentors are not teaching them that. We are. Our programs, our content specialists is doing that in the business accelerator. What the entrepreneur will then do is go back to the mentor and say, this is what I learned in class. Here's what I'm having trouble with. I like to bounce this idea off of you. What do you think? Right? So the mentor's job is to listen and to share, you know, advice when it's appropriate, right? So again, different backgrounds, someone who can listen well. Third, it's someone who is compassionate as well and really believes in your mission or the EforAll mission. So all of our mentors, I will say, they are phenomenal. They are known as the heart of EforAll, because our mentors make such a big difference in our entrepreneurs' lives, because they are there with the entrepreneurs 90 minutes a week. That's an hour and a half of their volunteer time with our entrepreneurs to listen and to guide them as well. And then so I would say to find your entrepreneurs, you know, you definitely want to do a marketing campaign where you're looking for great entrepreneurs. You want to start talking to people of different backgrounds, connecting with them on LinkedIn. So it's really as anyone. I could be out and about and I'm talking to someone and they may say, you know, I really like this. I like to give back to the community. And that's when I'll say, really, how would you like to give back? Are you interested in connecting with entrepreneurs and helping guide them on this journey as they start up a business? So our entrepreneurs come from, I would say, we have some that are from even local government, many from the banking sector, some that are entrepreneurs themselves, and several from even the higher ed or the academia field, all over.
So I'm gonna make a couple of comments for the participants here. Many of them I recognize them are leaders of engineering colleges in India. So I want to just appeal to them and think about this opportunity, this concept of how your faculty and students can work with the local Indus entrepreneurs Thai chapters and reach out to the local villages and small communities to set up EforAll kinds of things. So think about this idea. We can talk. That's something that can be discussed. But the question here from Avasti was about the charges. What are the usual charges? And I heard from what you said that the young lady that started off in the video in the beginning that you don't really charge them anything. They get it for free,
no,
right? And
we don't charge a penny.
You don't have to charge, and that makes sense, because these are all people who are fairly low income people from small towns and communities, and you can't really charge them and leave out a bunch of entrepreneurs who cannot afford to be there. So that's where your 300,000 per year dollars, the funding that you raised, is able to get the services that you can give for free to these groups. And I think I like that model, because that way there's a group of people who are worrying about how to get that money and give the and another group what training to give, and then you have the recipients who really budding entrepreneurs from the grassroots at the lowest level. So that's amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's, I think that's
any
the
other
one thing
comments?
to,
Let's see.
I think that's one thing
go ahead.
to remember, to be very important about, is that our programs and services are at no cost to the entrepreneur. So everyone that we work with, we do not charge them anything at all. And just like you said, because so many individuals do come from a low income background, some are immigrants, some are refugees, and so it should be no cost to them.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to help the low income families make a higher living so that you can level out the playing field.
So Krishna, can I ask a quick question to Sophan?
Yeah, please, go ahead. Yes.
Hey, Sophan, how are you? It's so nice to meet you here. Yeah, that's such a wonderful presentation. I really enjoy it. And I noticed, actually, my question is kind of related to what Krishna just asked, this no charge service. I saw the EforAll just published the impact report for 2020, and the statistics are really impressive, such as the EforAll business, 70% are owned by women. Wow, that's a fantastic statistics. So I wonder, to help this underrepresented group, in addition to no charge, right? It's a free. So this type of entrepreneurs will come to the program. Is any other initiatives the EforAll actually is doing to promote the entrepreneurship activities among the underrepresented groups? Can you share more?
Have other activities such as other than the pitch contest and the accelerator program?
And yeah, and even when we do the pitch contest, is any actual efforts to promote entrepreneurship, like among women, among other underrepresented groups? Any actual efforts we are doing here?
Yeah, for sure. We do try our best to market and outreach again to the parts of the community that may not know about this. So we work, for example, with many other nonprofit organizations as well, so that they are aware, so that if the clients or the customers they serve, this could be a resource that they need, they would know about us. We also work with many banks. So most individuals, when they're looking to start a business, as you know, one of the number one things that an entrepreneur always needs when starting up a business is access to capital. They need money. And so many times they will go to the banks, and they might not be in a position to take on a full bank loan yet. And so what the banks will do is actually refer their customers to us for them to learn, again, the fundamentals. So is there a concentrated effort into reaching out like women and minorities? Absolutely, because that's part of our mission.
Thank you. That's great.
Great. I think we're running out of time here. Ashwin, you want to take forward? And I think maybe you might want to put up the screen again to announce the next Sophan.
Yes. Yes.
So,
great. Thank you, Sophan. Thank you so much. That was an excellent discussion about the EforAll. I think there's a lot of interest. I know from our previous interactions, whenever we had the workshop in Lowell, we have brought students to the EforAll to know more about it, and students from other countries, they express a lot of interest in that. So thank you so much for that excellent presentation. Thank you all for attending this webinar, and our next webinar is going to be on September 23rd, and it will deal with another important topic that entrepreneurs should know, called the global ethics. What should aspiring entrepreneurs know? And global ethics is becoming a hot topic, so please plan to attend. For more information, you can contact us at ge2@uml.edu, or you can send an email to myself. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, Krishna, for hosting this webinar, and we look forward to have another one in September.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Bye.